Welcome back to SSS Live. Today we're with Skylar and he's giving us a tour of Marengo Caves.
Something else that's pretty cool about this room is that this is the room we have our upside down wishing well in. I'll turn on the light here to show you penny ceiling.
Oh, look at this penny.
And as you can see up in the ceiling, we have those mud deposits that were left over from whenever water flooded this portion of the cave and stuck them up on the ceiling. And we made it a tradition to try to get any spare change you have stuck up in there. So if you have any change on you, or if you can find any laying around on the ground, feel free to try to get some stuck up in the ceiling. If you don't have any on you, you can come off the path over here. There's usually a lot laying around, like over here, and also kind of over, like on that bank too. So feel free to do that. A couple things before we start throwing them up. First off, aim for the dark spots. The dark spot's mud, the light spot's rock. It's not going to stick to the bare rock. Also, whenever you're throwing it up, hold it flat in a palm and go straight up. Don't throw like a baseball, because the angle you throw it at, it can ricochet and hit someone on the other side of the room. So if you throw it up like this, it will just come straight back down and not hit anybody. I'm going to give you about another minute or so to do this. But while you're still doing it, a couple things I can point out. First off, this stage out here in front of us, people often ask questions about this. We use this for two things. We use it for caroling in the cave down here during Christmas time. We'll also use it for occasional weddings as well. And also, over there behind the stage is a little passageway. This is called Lover's Retreat. Don't really have to explain how it gets that name. It's kind of self-explanatory.
Really?
As we make our way down into Music Hall, a couple differences we see. First off, the size of this passageway is a lot bigger than what we've been walking through so far. The most glaring difference we see is that there are no formations in here. That's because above this layer of limestone, there's a layer of sandstone. That layer of sandstone. But earlier we were talking about the maze and how that wasn't a crawling tour or a spelunking tour. There's another one that's over here to the right with that red light up there. It doesn't go straight back. It's actually over here to the left. It's dug out. This area back here is called the Masher. This was discovered about 15 years ago, so a relatively new discovery in the cave's history. Now it's a crawling tour. Just like the maze, it's pretty small. It's pretty difficult to get through. For the actual masher, which is this part right here, this is the worst part. Once you get in it, your hands and knees for the first 40 feet, and then you have to go to stomach crawling, and then you get to the actual masher. And for that, you have to turn on your right side, put your arms straight out ahead of you, grab onto a rock shelf that's on the left side, and drag yourself through it for about 5 or 6 feet. Because if you don't do that, if you go straight, if you stay on your stomach, that rock shelf, you'll get your left arm pinned under it, and you'll get chicken wings, so you'll be like this and can't move. So you have to put your arms out and like drag yourself through.
How many people have to die before you realize that?
Well, I mean, there happens to be. Continue on up here further. In just a second, you're going to be walking on the natural cave floor. I did say before you're not allowed to touch anything, but this is actually one of the exceptions. Feel free to touch the natural cave floor. The one we're not going to be going through. This is called Aljamal. Back in the 1970s, from 74 to 79, we had an overnight scout program here. Scout program here. So scout troops would come to the cave and they would stay the night up in that portion of the cave. We did revamp this back in 2017, and now it's not only exclusive to scout troops. Anyone from the general public can come and do it. So if you and a group of 12 or more friends or family would like to stay the night in the cave, you would sleep up there in Aljamal. But this lower passageway, the one we are going to be going through, this one is called Signature Hall. Of course, this is how it gets its name. We got a lot more historical graffiti up here on the rocks. The reason I'm calling it historical graffiti instead of just writing is because back in 1947 it became illegal to write your name in a cave in the state of Indiana. It's considered vandalism. Of course, there are a couple examples that are post-1947, but a vast majority of this does predate it. I know, like right here, there's a September 6, 1885. That's 2 years after the cave was discovered. There's plenty early 1900s, late 1800s up here too. And it's not just these two rock faces, it goes all the way down through to the other side. So thousands of signatures going down through here. Yep. Let's see. There's the one.
The kids are probably
Lily Marks. Rob Conrad. This next room we're coming into here, this is called Majestic Hall. And a couple things to talk about in this room. First off, over here on the left side, this big rock right here, this is called Pulpit's Rock. Back in 1924, a bishop by the name of A.H. Fountain used to give sermons up on top of that rock. The whole congregation's down here, so they would have church in this room. He would stand up on top of that rock. But the next thing to talk about is over on the other side of the room. I'm going to have you all scoot forward a little bit more, probably to about right there, so people in the back can see it. Look at the formation, make sure you look at its shadow when I'm shining my light up there. That shadow up on the ceiling is called the little girl on the swing. The right side's your head, left side's your feet. But that formation I'm shining my light on, that's actually not stalactite. That's another rare formation we have called a stalactite. And a little bit later on, we're going to see a much bigger version of that type of formation. Little girl on the swing, or on the left side formation.
But it's going so slow.
Here a little bit further, if you look out straight ahead, you will be able to see it. It's pretty well defined out here. And since we're in a cave, we have to have dark chocolate. All right, but before we continue on past the elephant head,